everyone. How is everybody? What news?
Oh, the sunshine,
Good.
the sunshine. Wow.
It's lovely. I know.
Oh,
Amazing.
it's just fantastic. But I've got to tell you what happened to me yesterday. So yesterday, I went out, just as one does, and I came back an hour later, and Tinkerbell was in the street. She had opened the downstairs window, and she got out. She'd opened the window, and it was wide open, and she was just running up and down the road. So her name is Tinkerbell Houdini Arnold. She has a middle name, and now you know why. But actually, in fact, she did save me, because what it made me realise was that none of my windows were actually locked. I'd closed them and pulled them, but I hadn't locked them.
You'd not locked them.
We've got to talk about Sherry's hair, because it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've had it cut.
Who did it, darling?
Keely. My Keely did it. When she was young, she trained as a hairdresser. You know, she used to go once a week and train, and she didn't carry on with it. And I said to her the other day, Keely, you can do my hair. She went, oh, no, I can't. Anyway, she's coloured it and she's cut it.
Beautiful.
And I said to her, it's the best cut I've ever.
I know.
I am booking my appointment. I'm booking my appointment.
Seriously.
No, it's lovely.
Like that.
It's quite 1920, Sherry. It's kind of.
I love. That's what I like.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it looks very
so vibrant.
Helps the neck.
Yeah,
anyway, can I just tell you what happened to me this morning?
Yes.
So I took the dog out, and I was standing by a tree waiting for him to have a pee, and I heard this funny noise. So I went nearer the bush. You know, all the birds are at it now, don't you know? Because it's spring and it's
yeah.
And I heard this very strange noise, and it's a very large bird going. Oh.
He's on the toilet, obviously.
I was going to say, having a poo.
And I think it was giving birth.
To an egg.
I can't help you, love, because I can't. If you'll fly away and he's going, oh, I didn't know what to do. I'm going to go back after this and see if it's dropped any.
Yes. You wanted to be a midwife, didn't you, darling? You wanted to be a midwife.
That's a very good segue.
That's a perfect
yes.
link, yeah.
So all of us have been loving Call the Midwife for the last 10 years, actually. It's been probably one of my favourite series. And I'm very proud to say that I have a friend in it. Actually, I do know Jenny Agatha, but I also know Annabelle Apsion very, very well. And I was trying to think how long I've known her for. I can't remember ever meeting her, and she can't remember meeting me, but we obviously know each other from somewhere for years. Anyway, everybody who's watching this show, I'm so proud to introduce my friend who plays the gorgeous Mrs. Buckle, the lovely Annabelle Apsion.
Hi, Annabelle.
There she is.
Hi, Annabelle.
Hello, welcome.
Hello. Hi.
Welcome to the Wonderbirds. Thank you so much for joining us today. Actually, we love what's behind you. Such lovely colours, Annabelle. You looks very serene.
Well, I'm quite a chaotic person, but this is a fairly chaotic background, actually.
But it feels naturally.
Oh, how
very
nice.
calm.
Peaceful.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. These are beautiful, given to me. They're hand-picked, gorgeous flowers. I do love real flowers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Glad you approve.
Annabelle, the success of Call the Midwife. So I was just saying, I've known you forever, but we don't remember when we met, but we've known each other forever. But the success for me, I'm so thrilled for you of Call the Midwife. It's fabulous. Do you love doing it?
I do. I mean, I watched the last episode that went out of series 10 on Sunday and the compilation, and I couldn't believe all the wonderful things that have been in it. And I loved that last episode. We've got a wonderful new character in it. And I was thinking the main hit factor, I think, of any series, and I was in Soldier, of course, years ago, which had amazing people in, and Shameless. And I think it's when the writer thinks up brilliant characters.
Yeah.
And Call the Midwife has just got such brilliant characters, you know, and I suppose as it goes on, the writer gets inspired by what the actors bring to the role. But if you haven't got a well-written character, it's very difficult for any actor to do something with it often. So yes, it's lovely to be in, and because it's educational, I'm learning all the time. Plus we have terrific fun. I mean, everybody's very naughty.
Good.
But
Good.
the last episode, it was beautiful, you know, having that little child like that, and what happened with his mother and the adoption things. I'm also learning a lot too from Call the Midwife. I absolutely love it. But I do love Mrs. Buckle. I think she's such an interesting character. It's so funny, you know. Oh, you know, don't bring a rat here, you know, just come, you know, just come to my surgery.
Go to my office.
She's grown a lot, hasn't she?
She has. And I was thinking, you know, if you were a counsellor, it would be lovely to be able to talk to everybody. Everybody would kind of come and bring you their stuff, but it could become overwhelming. So I like the way that she's trying to compartmentalise her life a little bit, because she's expanded from the haberdashery shop to the newsagents. She's got Fred in the newsagents, which he doesn't really like running the shop because she's planning, you know, for their future. So I love the way she's trying to kind of organise things and be very busy. I think it's very sensible. And I think that she should have what my mother used to have, because my mother worked very hard. My mother used to have a deck chair in a cupboard in her office, and she used to go in there and have what she called a power nap. And I think Violet is going to introduce power naps. So I'd like lots of little shots. I'm flattering shots of her, you know, like that, having a power nap. Because I like that it's true to life.
Yeah.
Well, so when are you coming back for a Christmas special? Is that the next thing?
Yes, we've done the Christmas special.
Oh.
So we normally always film that sometimes when it's quite hot and we're all in our, you know, very thick woolly clothes. And in fact, I was filming yesterday and I was wearing all synthetic clothes because it's the 60s, and I have a wig, and my face was just pouring sweat.
Yeah. Do you know what I love about Call the Midwife is that it's never been afraid to touch on those times and times that none of us now as women would ever understand because we didn't have to go through it. And I think it's always been very brave, Call the Midwife.
Yeah.
I think it has. And also, you know, my mother was a nurse, and there are things that nurses do with general care of their clients. And these days, again, not that I'm an expert, but things are often very compartmentalized. And I love the way the women are getting the care at home, and the way the doctor knows everybody and people know the families. So I think there's a lot to that, actually.
Annabelle, I want to say to you, first of all, we're both Virgos.
Oh, rock on.
And more importantly, we're both the 17th of September.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
How nice is that?
I mean, I'm a long time before you, shall I put it that way? But you went into Coronation Street with a lovely Brian Capron.
With a lot of energy.
Died quite soon. But worse than that, in 2003, they dug you up, which you probably don't know about.
No, I didn't know that. And what happened?
I don't know. I don't know if Brian took you home in a little box. I really don't know. But I mean, did you have a nice time in the time you were in Coronation Street?
I did. I mean, it was a straight offer, which, as you know, is always nice to have a straight offer and not to have to audition, because I often think I'm terrible at auditions anyway. And I started to read it, and I was thinking, oh, you know, I might condescend to do more. And then I got to the end, and of course I realised that there couldn't be any more. But it was great fun, and I love working with Brian. And you know, we rehearsed, and he was just great fun, and everybody was lovely. And it was like a military operation. That was the first time I've done that kind of multi-camera work, actually.
Yeah.
I think they have like 3 or even 4 cameras, and I'd never done that before. So it's really good fun, yeah.
You're instinctively so funny and so witty. When did you first realise you were funny? Did you know it as a little girl? Was that when your acting instinct started? Because it's what happened.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I was a very serious little girl.
Were you?
And I this is a serious matter. I went to a school where the teachers were not very nice to some of the children. And I noticed that there was one child who was what we used to call the teacher's favourite. And she was very funny. And this teacher used to be quite unpleasant to me. So I think I thought, oh, well, maybe if I'm funny, the teacher will be nicer to me. So I think it probably started then.
But also you have an instinct. You have it, don't you? You have an instinct. So when you start, where did you train? Did you go to a drama school?
No, I didn't. I went to Swansea University.
Fantastic.
I applied through clearing and got in doing Russian and politics.
Oh my
As you do.
And then
Nothing
when I was
major
there, they'd introduced this thing where you had to do 3 subjects, and they just introduced drama. And I'd really wanted to do drama anyway. So I did that as my 3rd subject. Anyway, that's how I started. And then when I wanted to act, I thought, well, I have to come to London to act. So I came up and I lived with somebody who'd been to drama school. And in those days, you couldn't act unless you had an equity card.
That's right.
You couldn't get an equity card, basically, unless you knew somebody famous, or you'd been to drama school and they would go to the reps who would have 2 equity cards. So you couldn't work. So for like 2 years, I would write all these letters and nobody would ever reply, or they'd say no.
I'm just so impressed with everything you do, obviously, and I'm in love with you in Call the Midwife.
Oh, thank you.
Really in love with you. But also, well, even better for me, because I love, I'm very spiritual. And I know that you are too. And you co-founded the Rosen method bodywork, which is fascinating to me because it's about body and mind. And tell us about it, because it's just amazing.
Sure. Well, basically, we all, some people don't like to touch, but I'm a very touchy-feely person. And I always used to like going and having massages and, I like cuddling and I like all that. And I thought, it'd be fun to learn a little bit of massage. And so I went on this workshop, which I thought was massage, but it wasn't. It was Rosen method bodywork. And they asked for a volunteer. And I thought, I'll volunteer and I'll get the best massage from the teacher. And I didn't think much of it because it wasn't like my idea of a massage. But she made some very accurate comments and she asked me a few questions. And then I would say, and I'll say this to you, lots of people don't like the word soul.
Yeah.
But I felt my soul as me in my body. I could feel the connection. So often we think of our body more like meat, or to get us from A to B, and it's composed of this. But it was like the way she spoke to me, and I know you were talking about meditation, it was like I could really feel myself. And I had all kinds of memories going back to when I was very young. I felt all kinds of feelings. And she was working on the tension in my back and basically when it had started. And she was asking me a few questions and she was just able to kind of read my body through her touch. And I'd never experienced anything like that, and I was kind of fascinated. And then, you get to try it out a bit. And I found, again, this is wonderful because it's something we can all do. It's just that in our culture, we haven't been taught how to touch. In fact, we're taught not to touch. Mm-hmm. And of course, there is so much abuse with touch. But this is a wonderful thing. And it goes back to, even when somebody just holds your hand when you're feeling nervous.
Yes.
If you can really allow yourself to really feel them in their contact, because sometimes people are so uptight, they can't even let themselves feel. But actually, our bodies have a lot of information. It's almost like we cut off from our bodies and our feelings a lot. So like if you're very busy, you're not normally aware of what you're feeling. But when you're lying on a massage table and somebody's touching you in that way, relaxing, you can really feel what you're feeling. And often that's really important. It's kind of something that we often don't allow. So it's really, really simple, but very, very rewarding. So I love doing it.
Connecting with people, even people you don't know, you can actually, because we're very sort of, we start with a blank canvas and getting sort of connecting with that and the love. And I know that love, it sounds very sort of woo-woo sometimes, but love is very powerful, isn't it?
Well, also, you know, you think about how kind so many people are.
Yes.
And that, I think, is our basic nature. But if you've had a very brutal upbringing, you often learn to be brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So coming back, I think you can rediscover your own kindness. You can rediscover your ability to connect with somebody that you don't know, because ultimately we're all one family. I mean,
Yes.
apparently we're all developed from one African woman, and we're all connected, and we know this now, that our actions have consequences for people on the other side of the world. So why don't we embrace that we're one family and treat each other like one family, instead of this kind of partisan, you know, you're like
Annabelle, if we want people want to get in touch and find out about the Rosen method, how do they do this?
We have a website, rosenmethod.co.uk, and if
Lovely.
they go on our website, they can sign up for our newsletter. And then we haven't been able to run in-person courses. We've got one coming up in August, but we've been doing a lot on Zoom, and we've been teaching people how to do quite basic things, but lovely things that you can learn on Zoom. So yes, please sign up for our newsletter.
I think Dee and I would like to sign up for one. I want to sign up for one now.
Thank you, Annabelle. You are amazing. And would you come back and see us soon, please?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Pleasure,
Lovely to see you.
darling. See you very soon,
Bye, darling.
Bye.
What a wonderful woman. So
my
diverse
goodness.
in her
She
abilities
is
and her talents.
wonderful
Well,
in every sense.
I'd like to try that.
I would too.
Yeah.
I think it would help everyone, and I think
Sounds
actually,
amazing.
yeah, I think it really would.
I want to introduce this lady because, first of all, her husband was the amazing Roy Hudd, and all of us know him, loved him, and are saddened by his loss. But the person behind Roy Hudd, there is no doubt in anybody's mind, was the wonderful Debbie Hudd, who is here right now. Hello,
Hi.
Debbie.
Hi. Welcome.
Oh, it's so good to see you. You look fabulous, Debbie.
I'm doing all right, thanks. Yeah.
You look fabulous. and how's lockdown been?
Very quiet, because my family live either back in Lancashire or on the Isle of Wight. So I'm here on my own. Apart from the village has been brilliant. We live in a little village.
I mean, I loved Roy so much. And what thrilled me this year was when Tony Maudsley became George Shuttleworth.
Oh,
because
wasn't that great?
Roy would have just loved that, wouldn't he?
I thought that was brilliant casting.
Yeah.
You know, because he has that sort of air about him, doesn't he? A bit like Roy. You know,
a bit like Roy.
And the shape that Roy grew into at some stage.
What you trying to say?
Smoking. But you know, it was so nice of Granada, because Coronation Street, they contacted Roy's agent when they were building the set for his Undertakers, and they said, would I object, or you know, would I be upset if they put a photograph of Roy on the set? And I said, that's brilliant. Roy would love that, because he loved theatre and drama to be real, and he said that's what they would have done, you know.
And he did like his time in Corrie, didn't he? He did like it.
Loved it.
I know he did.
Yeah.
But equally, I loved my time in Run for Your Wife with Roy. Oh my God, we had such a great time.
I have this here for you, Sherry.
Right.
Look at this.
Oh my God. Oh wow.
Fantastic.
You could use it as a photo now. That was Run for Your Wife.
Oh, Run for Your Wife. Oh my goodness.
They never put dates on these, which is sad.
No, I'll tell you, something like 80, would have been 86.
It's just weird, isn't it, how time flies? So Roy actually worked with my daddy, and he was a great friend of my father's. So my father died very young, but my father was a very big star very, very early on. So all the sort of comics that he worked with, you know, Morecambe and Wise, Tommy Cooper, all of that lot, Harry Seacombe, he was the one that broke the first. And then sadly, he was the one, you know, he died when he was 32, but that's another story. But I've got quite a few bills with Roy and my dad on, but I will try and dig one out for you and send them to you, Debbie.
I love that.
I would love that. But I did a couple of headlines with him and worked with him over the years. And he was just, we used to talk about my dad, but he always used to give me one, a friendly sort of like daddy sort of hug. And it always was I felt very safe with him always.
Yeah,
he was
the best hugger.
Don't forget, you're a very attractive lady and he loved the ladies.
He did.
But he also loved my father. I think there was something from heaven going.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
He loved people with talent and enthusiasm. And he would always, show great encouragement to anybody who, was keen to do something. And Roy would always say that he would rather have somebody in a show who, rather than being technically perfect, was maybe a little bit less, but gave it that, enthusiasm, because you can't teach that.
No.
Yeah.
And it shows
Absolutely.
across the footlights.
And he also had this wonderful charm about him, which is kind of old school charm. Just in everything he did, everything, when you met him, when he met people, he always had that complete charm, which people don't have now.
I know. I was talking to somebody the other day exactly about this, and there was a certain era of performer, and I think it's also coming from the variety side of the business, who have that charm because it's their bread and butter, talking to the public.
Yeah,
of course.
A lot of, and it's no disrespect. I don't mean any disrespect to the legit side, but sometimes they come out of a theatre and they don't know how to talk to their public.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, hello, yes, I'll sign this. But Roy, we'd be there for hours.
Yeah.
In the rain, snow, and I was saying, Roy, we've got to go home. I was the bad cop, He was actually in awe of a lot of performers,
Yes.
Yeah.
He must have been in awe of you, and I want to talk to you about you. I know that you trained as a dancer, and as we shared before, sometimes when training, my tits got too big, so I had to stop. And there we go. Thank you. But I wanted to know, you were a dancer. How did your training start? What got you into all of that?
My mum. She was one of those. And I wanted to be an actress, but my mum steered me into the dance side, and I went to the Hammond at Chester.
Oh, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
And it
Lots
used to
of
be
friends
called
went
the
to
back
Hammond.
door to the Royal at that point.
That's right.
But she wanted me to do more of the classical side, but I wanted the variety side. I didn't want to be stuck down one. I wasn't that dedicated to do purely ballet.
Quite right.
I went off and I did the cruise ships, I did the summer seasons.
So you had an amazing variety of what you did then with your dance.
Yes. But when I came back,
there
was one, I'd done a couple of cruise ships, I'd done a couple of summer seasons, and I came back once and I went for an audition for a pantomime at Liverpool, the Liverpool Empire, because I live in Lancashire and I've been away from home so much. And I thought, great, if I do that, I can commute really. Bit of a trek, but I could do it. And I didn't get the job. Oh, I must tell you, I was a bit late. The train was late getting into Liverpool Street station. So Liverpool Street, Lime
Street.
Lime Street.
Anyway, I get to the stage door and I can hear the choreographer, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's all started.
Oh, so no.
I'm there and I'm quite green, really. So the stage doorman said, oh, don't worry, you can get changed in my room here. So, oh, thank you, get changed into the gear and everything. And he said, just a minute, he said, they'll want your measurements. And I said, oh, yeah, all right. And he said, right. He did my bust, inside leg, and I thought, you're just a dirty old man.
There you go.
That's how I met Roy. Sorry, no.
There you go. But you also choreograph and direct now, don't you?
I do. Well, I do more the directing of pantos.
Yeah.
I'm doing Folkestone this year.
Amazing.
Cliff Hall down there. But actually, I went, as a dancer in pantomime. That's where I met Roy. And then that led on to playing Principal Girl and Fairy and all those bits. And then I was asked to choreograph, which I did. And then one day the boss who I was working for, Paul Holman, he rang and he said, oh, chat. And he said, would you direct wherever it was next year? And I said, yes, of course. And about 5 minutes later, I said, oh, you said direct, you mean choreograph? And he said, no, direct. I said, oh, I've never done that before. I said, can I get back to you tomorrow? So yeah, I ran in the office in here and I said to Roy, he wants me to direct. What do you think? And he said, do it. He said, you were born for it. You only have to be bossy.
Oh,
I did it.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Brilliant.
You know, Debbie, you are a very positive person, and it, you know, you have lost a life partner, your dear life partner. It must have been tough for you. How have you been coping with that?
Last year is a bit of a blur, to be honest.
Right.
I'm just coming out of it now, out of the fog, really. I must say the people in my village have been fantastic. I've had so much support. I lost my parents back in the 80s and early 90s, and I was devastated. But losing your lifetime partner, and we were together for 40 years, it's a different type of grief. And it was tough. And it still is, you know.
Of course.
I talk to him every day. In fact, when I go out and do the shopping, I come home. Well, I always did when Roy was here, I'd sort of say, all right, babe. And he'd shout back, all right, love. I still do it now. I answer myself, I said, Roy. And I put a different voice on for him.
Well, Debbie, as long as nobody shouts, all right, love, back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is worrying.
It's whatever gets you through, isn't it?
Of course. And darling, do you have any, are you doing anything for yourself, like any hobbies or anything like that?
I've taken up some painting. Well, it started off as drawing, but I want to go into painting. I mean, I'm no Picasso. It looks a bit like, you know.
Is it acrylics or oils or watercolors, darling?
We've started off with drawing. It's a local artist, a guy, Ed Cooper, who lives in Ipswich, and he's lovely. And so I'm going to start, because we're opening up now, I'm going to actually go to some live classes.
Oh, great.
Oils, having a go at oils. So it's
lovely.
Fantastic.
I'd want to do, but we were on the road so much, you never have
time. Yeah.
So now
that's true.
I thought, why not have a go? Can I just show you the one time? Well, I directed Roy only twice.
Right.
Which is a whole difference. We weren't talking by the end of the first week. Well, he taught me everything I know about panto. But for that year's Christmas card, because he was playing Dame, it was his debut as Dame, we had this picture taken.
Oh my gosh, that is brilliant.
Oh my God.
Lovely.
That is hysterical.
I've got his Billy Bennett moustache on.
I can see. Oh, that is, when was that, Debbie?
Well, we did one in 2000 and I think it was 16 and 2015 and 16 at Wilton's Music Hall.
Of course.
Tower Bridge.
I know that place. It's fabulous.
Yeah, it's a brilliant venue.
Yeah,
the best.
Great.
Oh wow, that's so funny. Well, come back and tell us about your paintings,
please,
and everything, and when your first exhibition will be.
Yes. I'll be a multi-millionaire by then.
You will be by then.
We'll all come
this time next year, Rodders.
Yeah.
I think your show's brilliant.
Thank you.
And I was watching the drama on Monday. I always say Sherry Hewson did it anyway.
Yeah, she did as well.
We all say that.
Lovely to see
Thank you, darling.
Lovely to see you, Debbie.
She's so funny.
She's
so funny.
And you can see why she was the person behind that enormous Roy Hudd, you know, because he was such an enormous star, and she was his anchor. And I think that's fabulous. I've never had an anchor. I've never had a plug, let alone
I wondered what you were going to say then, Sherry.
I've just got a large rudder. That's all I've got, and that's what I'm still doing
now.
So what's happening on Friday?
Oh well, we've got the fabulous Glynis Barber coming.
We have.
I'm just so excited. I love everything she does. So that's
It's
really
brilliant.
exciting.
See you there.
See you Friday.
See you there.
Okay, bye.
Bye.